Hi, this is Ruxandra, co-founder of Babele, and I'm here to introduce our fifth session regarding social return on investment. Here you go, social return on investment. Why did we include this theme in the investment readiness program? It's because it is crucial. Being able to prove the social impact that you have as a social enterprise is very important to investors and also to the grant givers, because that's what makes the difference between you and any other normal enterprise. So in order to introduce the team, I'm going to talk about a framework that was created by Simon Sinek, and he calls it the Golden Circle. And according to him, many organizations are very good at knowing what they do. Every organization on the planet can say what products they are selling or the services they are offering. But there are not that many that know how to do it. So how they do it, and like many people in the organization don't have a clear model about the how. These are things that make them special or set them apart from their competition. And what he says is that very few organizations know why they do it. And the why here is not about making money. That's just a result. And he's talking about the purpose, the cause or belief, and the reason why the organization exists. And that's, for me, the key element, difference between a social startup that should be able to know the why very well and the purpose, and maybe usual startup that doesn't know that. And here it is crucial to be able to measure and report on the impact, because it shows exactly this why, and you're much better able to communicate with all the other stakeholders the why through this. Probably many of you have heard about the theory of change. So there are 5 elements in the theory of change: inputs, activities, outputs, outcome, and impact. And so what you're putting in is the resources that you're dedicating, and the activities, what you are doing actually with these inputs in order to fulfill your mission. And the outputs is the work accomplished by the project. The outcome is actually the change that you have done through your company is going to have on the beneficiaries. And the impact is the long-term consequence of the intervention. And to go back on the framework of Simon Sinek, why that is in the center, and then the how and the what. Also in the theory of change, you can go back. So you have first the impact that you want to achieve, and that will then say what outcomes you want to have, and then what outputs are you going to have, so what activities you need to define. This is crucial so that you realize defining the why and defining the indicators and the KPIs that will be there in order to show that you're achieving what you're achieving has also a huge influence on the activities and on what you're going to do. So it is important to do it from the very beginning all along your social business. So the KPIs that will measure your social impact become actually your North Star metric, and the one that will help you guide what to do and what not to do. Okay, so now let's discuss on how to choose the KPIs. And for that, there is a very famous framework. You probably have heard about it, the SDGs framework, and it was introduced in 2015. And it's really changing the whole perspective because it's introducing a roadmap for sustainability. We have 17 SDGs. They are in all aspects. That's the huge difference with the Millennium Development Goals that were only focused on poverty. Here we have economy, but we also have the society and we also have the environment. And maybe the problem with this visualization, as you have it here, which is the most known one, is that they seem many and it might be confusing. So I want to introduce to you a framework that was created by Johan Rockström at the Stockholm Resilience Center. And his framework looks like that. So he's visualizing the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, like a wedding cake, he calls it, where he puts at the basis everything that is related to the environment. So SDG number 6, clean water, SDG number 13, climate actions, number 14, life in water, and number 15. So based on that, he says everything that is related to the environment is the basis of the wedding cake. Then there are 8 SDGs that are related to society. So for example, SDG number 5 on gender equality, and SDG number 1 with no poverty, which relates to the first millennium goals. And after that comes the economy. There are 4 SDGs related on the economy. And finally, there is SDG number 17, which is partnerships for the goals. And the principle of this wedding cake is that they are interconnected. You cannot have one without the other. And you can see this also with the COVID. You cannot have a healthy society if you don't care about the environment. And now that we have been going through the SDG frameworks, let's see how we establish the KPIs related to the SDGs. And first of all, you have to understand the SDGs and then defining within your own organization your priorities and setting your goals, then integrating them, and then introducing them in your reporting and communication strategy. And it's a whole circle, actually. I don't know if you have heard about Build, Measure, Learn in MVPs, but here also it's the same circle where you first think about what's the impact that I want to have, and you're planning it through the strategy, and you're creating your theory of change and the activities that you want to have. Then you're monitoring and continuing to measure the KPIs. Am I achieving what I wanted to achieve? And then you're evaluating your impact. Okay, so now we know the principles. How do we do that? So there are the SDG targets and indicators. So we have 169 targets and 232 SDG indicators related to the 17 SDGs. And you can go online and you can check the different targets and the different indicators that are related to them. And it is important to have a look at them, but it is also important to adapt them to your own company. So I'm going to share you some examples on how to do that. So for example, one SDG indicator is the number of people that live under $1.25 per day. So the first example that I'm going to share with you is the indicator talking about the number of people living under $1.25 a day. And the way you can adapt is the wage that you give to your employees so that they have a decent living. So you can have another indicator that is the prevalence of undernourishment, which you can adapt to, for example, the number of people trained to grow their own vegetables so that they are not undernourished anymore. The important here is to know the SDGs, to know the targets, to identify the indicators that might be relevant for your social business, to adapt them to your own social business, and then to be able to report it continuously and to measure the impact that you have had through your social enterprise. Please go online, complete the assignments, and report on the potential indicators that you would have for your own social enterprise. And I'm looking forward to see you in Babele. Have a nice day. Have a good one.